Hi guys, this is Jim's Fix-It Shop and I'm Jim. Today we're going to finish putting this mower deck back together. I just got it back from the powder coaters. It's nice and shiny and smooth. It's amazing that finish they put on these things, what it can make it look like. Let me adjust this camera and we'll get putting this thing together. Alright, it's a heck of a finish on this thing, isn't it? Now the spindles, when I worked on them and I took them out, and you remember, if you've seen the first one, I busted off some of these bolts that go in here. Now these original factory bolts are triangular shaped. They're not round. And they shoot these things in a plain hole. They drill in the aluminum. They blow them in there with a impact gun. They go in pretty fast. It tends to heat the aluminum up. And when it comes to a stop and they torque it in, it just grabs right onto that bolt, and it's basically like using Loctite on them. Then with the issue of aluminum and steel corroding, you have a hard time getting these things out. I broke off 4 of them. I took them to the shop where I worked. I put them on a mill, bolted them down solid, and I used one of these. This is a solid carbide 4-flute bottom cutting bit. You bolt these things down on the table, you line this bit up on that hole, and you just mill that bolt right out of there. Now the ones I didn't have to do that to, I screwed bolts in from the bottom instead of screwing them in from the top. They're stainless steel. Now if these ever corrode in and you can't get them out, it's not going to matter because the nuts holding them in are going to be on the top of the deck this time instead of on the bottom. You shouldn't have any problems getting these things out down the road. We're going to stick one of these things under here and we'll show you how it fits. Get some nuts and washers. Now the washers and the nuts are also stainless, so we shouldn't ever have an issue with getting this back off when we have to put new bearings in the spindles. Remarkably, these bearings are in great shape. I'm surprised. This deck's got a lot of hours on it. Now the ones that I drilled out, I can't screw the bolts in place because there's no threads left. We took them right out too. Tighten these up. Well, if we go the right direction, we would anyway. Alright, I'll put the other 2 spindles in, and that way I won't bore you to death. Okay, we're putting the last spindle up in here. Now you got to remember, before you put that last bolt in, some of these decks have a bracket that holds the spring. That has to go on before you get that last nut on. Now we're going to put the adjuster on that tightens up the belt. think when they build these things, they'd use all the same size nuts, wouldn't you? You're constantly switching sockets. Just got to go up from the bottom. Nice part is they use carriage bolts. You don't have to have a wrench down there on all of them. Now, this is the idler for the belt that goes between all the spindles. We're going to put a little anti-seize on this washer. This washer tends to act like a bearing for this spring. That hooks on that bracket you just put on. There. Now we can put these on. Before we torque all them down, we're going to put a little anti-seize on them threads too. I guess if nothing else, it'll just make a big mess. Get that stuff everywhere. This thing is darn near put together. Now the reason I put anti-seize on this washer under this bracket that moves, these belts from sitting a long period of time without using your tractor, they take a set. They'll have these permanent bends in them. So when this belt goes around, this thing is going to be constantly moving. Not a lot, but enough to wear things out. Sometimes the fun part is getting this belt back on. They got some power on them springs. Alright, that half's done. Now, we need some this great stuff on this one. Better grab that while I'm over there. All right, put that up through there. Place to lay all these parts. This bolt's got to go in from the bottom. This has to hook on here. This idler has a larger boss on the bottom than the top. Make sure you get that on the right way. You can do this if you're not sure you're getting them back together right. Take an ink pen, put a little dab of ink on the top so you can tell where it goes. And that's about it for this deck. Quick and painless. I have the adjusting wheels that go on each corner, but I think I'm going to wait and put them on when I get it to work. It'll be that much less weight I got to pick up and put in a truck. But other than that, this thing's ready to go. You wouldn't know it was that rusty thing that was in the first video. Alright, this is Jim from Jim's Fix-It Shop. If you got any questions on mowers, home improvement, I do about everything. Give me a line, shoot some pictures of the problem you got, small description, email them over to me at jimsfixitshop@gmail.com. It'll be in the description below. And until next time, work safe and have fun.